Okay. So it's been some time since I've been doing a lot of work on on all kinds of stuff. When you make something, it ends up being a lot more complicated than it first turns out to be. So I made a lot of changes to certain aspects. Like the caravan, I've been working on kind of like this concept for this. Mm, it's not there, but you know, I put in the ranking board. I actually coded it. I didn't code it originally, and it's hard to code a ranking board when you don't know like the value, the rank value of your game. Like that's why it's like there can't be like how can there be like online ranking when when you don't even know the local ranking is gonna be. I did some changes to stuff, so I made some resolution changes, full screen changes, performance mode stuff. Well, that wasn't the last beta. I fixed. Um, there was a thing where I didn't know how to. I knew how to set up the input stuff, but I didn't know how to deal with the displaying it. So I had to take some time to figure that out. But I've been working on this slowly, very slowly, and I've also changed some concepts. So I removed easy. I don't like easy. I thought easy was like if there was no rank in the game, then the game doesn't matter. So I changed my thought process. So we have normal, hard, we have black, and black. I don't think this will be playable in the next build because black requires now. I think I want to do. As I thought harder, I wanted to have that timer be real. So there's a timer in the main game against bosses that lowers your rank or your shot value. I can't remember. And I didn't feel like it was extreme enough in black. I felt like in black it should be a race against time. Like you're fighting terrorists, so it should be a race against time. So black should be a fixed set of time, and every boss you fight, it counts down. And I think that would add a unique challenge to it. But the problem is I can't make that playable now in the new build because I haven't finished the bosses, right? I haven't finished all the bosses, all the stages. So how can I really make black playable if they share one timer? I have to design a timer. We have to have people play it, and I have to figure out, like, well, what is the ideal timer for playing this game, especially with score involved, because this is a scoring game, and I want the timer to matter for score. In hard mode, the timer mattering for score is a lot more based on, this concept of if I go over the timer, I don't get penalized except for rank goes down. So if rank goes down, I get less of a multiplier at the end of stage score thing. Because when you kill the boss, just like an enemy, if you kill them, the multiplier is rank times their health. So if you kill an enemy at a rank below 1, their health is multiplied by a rank below 1, which is like 0.5. So 0.5 health, you only get half score. If you kill an enemy at 2 rank, then you get their health times 2. And obviously there's also compounding with how you killed them, what method. Was it with a beam? Was it with another bullet or something? And for bosses, that's very important because there's multiple ways to kill bosses right now in this current build, and time matters a lot. And so my question is, should I kill you? I'm kind of thinking I want to do the border down thing, where if you go over a certain point in time on the timer, it's game over. So it's like 30 seconds maybe. And so the whole game shares one timer. But I haven't decided yet, so it's hard to say. Anyway, what I wanted to talk about, I just wanted to talk about something like silly. It's something simple. So I wanted to talk about this concept I have about boss design in the context, because I've been working on this boss. And this boss is, I'm still spitballing a lot. This boss is not really well defined. There's a lot of things that need to be worked on. There's a lot of concepts that are spitballing, trying to figure out, like, well, how do I want certain aspects of it to play out? And this is stage 4. So this is 4 out of 5. So this is supposed to be like the penultimate boss. And so we've introduced the concept of orbs being incredibly powerful, orbs doing damage to these bosses, right? So you see already, they're taking damage based on the orb. I'm trying to fix like the positioning around what that orb's mean. You also see they fire off shots that, these red and blue shots, they can't be absorbed by your laser, and they also harm them. They get harmed by radiation. The only reason I wouldn't have a negative effect on the player for radiation is I think it's not fair. I was kind of thinking that maybe you could have the player, if they're near an orb that has this radiated quality to it, that you lose like shot power, and I thought that's just unfair. That's just not fun. Like, that's just cruel. So I thought, well, we have to play against the boss. And so the bosses need to have more expanded health because they have, see, right here. So the boss dies immediately because even with more expanded health, if you can play this system, I mean, obviously you're not going to get, the thing's not right. But the thing is, I'm working on the end screens a bit, and I've been doing retexturing, and that didn't come out right. But the thing is, the question is, so when you fight against a boss, they have an orb. The orb has to have an effect, and I need to diminish the effect on this boss. Like, so if we fight the stage 2 boss, for example. I'm kind of questioning this concept of each boss needs to have their own feel, their own mode, their own way of thinking, their own aspects that make sense to who they are, what they express, all these things. Like, for example, so this boss, it begins with the hand, and so there are these bullet patterns that I created are very some people would call them a little bizarre. Basically, when you're above the hand, they're slower when they spawn, but when you're below the hand, they're faster. And so you're playing around these certain aspects because it's supposed to play around you absorbing the bullets. But the hand always acts as an intermediary, and there's this orb that exists, and you can kill some of the orbs, you can't kill all of them. And then, these things, you can't kill these things, so what would you do? You'd use your support chip, but I messed up. But anyway, this kind of aspect I'm interested in is each boss represents itself. It respects or represents a certain attitude, a certain thought process. Like, a boss shouldn't just be a thing that exists. A boss has to represent a certain quality, a certain way of thinking. And I think the hand actually made a mistake there, which I didn't see earlier, which I need to check the code again. That's why this is still a beta. After all, this won't be a 1.0 for quite a while. Like, here, I'm gonna just hit the orb. There. Wow, look at all those things that pop up just because I hit that orb. What I want there to be, there's my support chip. What I want there to be is there a give and take, an interplay between all these concepts. And it's really hard to, I think, to some degree, the game crashed. Okay, so I'm back. Alright, the game crashed, unfortunately. So even with the crash, so I'm trying to express some idea, right? So let's say I take the stage 1 boss, right? So the stage 1 boss follows very, I think, very basic strafing patterns in terms of a lot of 90s horizontal, like 16-bit horizontal games tend to have a lot of strafing patterns involved, a lot of certain attitudes towards those things, and it's kind of complicated because you have all of these things going on, and I have, like, with rank, I have very specific things that happen, So I gotta hit it real quick to get some rank up. Let's do this. It's hard off this. Go back. Okay, so the thing is, like, I think the problem is with this concept is that I'm playing off a very specific rank centric kind of attitude, where there's the game is supposed to be fluid. It's supposed to interact with the actions you take, right? You shoot at the orb, it increases your rank, it hurts the enemy, and all these kinds of things. The more damage you do to the enemy, with the orb damages the enemy, the more damage it does to them, the more health they lose. And it also, they shoot more bullets, but it also limits the amount of bullets you can absorb and all these things. But you could use, like, the ship to absorb them, maybe, that they all get absorbed. And that's something your normal shield couldn't do. And so my question is always, in each boss fight, the question is, what is the boss supposed to represent? What is their attitude? So I looked like this boss I've been trying to spitball a lot of ideas for this boss, and I've had a lot of issues with trying to figure out how to deal with these ideas, because this is supposed to be stage 4 boss, and I noticed that when I design it, right, so they have a lot of health, and I need to maybe fix the rate at which they lose health based on the radiation of the orb. But if you look at, like, how it starts very simply. It starts at a pattern that, I know these patterns perfectly. I designed them, so I can't say. I don't know, like, what's real and what's not real. That's what playtesters are for. But I'm kind of interested in this concept of, well, if I were to fire here at some point, right, I'd have to move around. You want to create something that moves around a lot, but, like, the boss shouldn't be aggressive in the beginning initially, right? I don't think a boss should be aggressive in the beginning. I think the boss should wean you into their concept, their idea, and then they start spreading out more concepts, more ideas, and suddenly, oh, well, what is this? What's that? And it's like, well, if I was in X position, then suddenly I wouldn't be there. Like, if I was firing on them at the top, I'd be hit by something. What I think is interesting in design, and again, this is still really new. I just died. let me set my my live ratio up really high, because I just want to be able to get hit for something, because I want to point out something later. So when you play against a late level enemy, right? And in the last run, that assumes that we're playing the game if you're playing this game up to stage 4, you won't have the highest max bullet rate, right? You have to use your bullets to use your laser or whatever, so you're always gambling what you have, your current ability to do things, against the enemy's skill set. And so I think this question is like, well, does it matter that there are a lot of bullets on the screen or not? And I kind of question, it's like, well, does it matter if you know? And I think it's stupid in terms of Danmaku. When I play a game, guarantee I don't know jack shit about patterns, right? I have to learn them. I've been playing Zezek's No Shot, like, just with, like, oh my god, I fucked it up. Context of making a boss, it's really hard to design like what is a boss, right? You can just have a pattern or whatever. Like that's the Nintendo thing. Nintendo is like a very simple pattern, a very simple thing. I don't think that's really fair to people, but at the same time, I don't quite care for a lot of Danmaku design, because I think the boss is just an object to have a pattern. And so I've always been a fan of horizontal games because the patterns themselves, they're related to the screen, the certain aspects to these things, right? And this question is like, well, what is the pattern at play? What is the space at play? What is the thing going on, right? And the only reason I'm not shooting right now is because I haven't decided the boss HP, and I've done this, I think, 3 times now, and I think I've done way too much damage, and so I'm trying to, like, well, maybe the boss health should be higher. Because the way this game should be played, you should be feeding this orb that shoots out these extra orbs that deal damage to the player. But at the same time, I haven't decided, like, well, what are the patterns? Like, what are the formations? And it's really hard to define. I think in Danmaku, it's really easy to say, oh, well, we can put up, like, a certain pattern here, and it makes sense. Because, like, in the top-down space, it really makes sense to do a certain thing. But for me, in the horizontal field, or at least in the games that I like playing, I think that there's a different world. And so I'm trying to figure out, well, for example, this section, it's based on rotation, but at the same time, I can probably, like, rotate 90 degrees or something. I actually might change that. Each time I play these things, I'm trying to think about, like, well, what matters in the situation? For example, here is the 4th stage, I think. Like, if you get this far, you're trying to milk. And so what I want to do is each stage, if you're trying to milk, each stage should be predictably harder at some point. But milking it can be very difficult. You know, you can get hit by just random things, and there's a sort of random chaos to it. I mean, this is spitballing, but I'm trying to figure out, like, well, what is the core value? I think people, you define your bosses based on a core identity, and I think it's not right to value a boss based on, again, it stopped here because I'm trying to, there's supposed to be a new stage where the camera switches, and I haven't done it. But, again, if you look at some of the other bosses I showed, each of these patterns, they should represent a certain field, a certain play field, a certain aspect of something. And I want to do that, but I find it very hard sometimes to really do it because it's really difficult to, again, in Danmaku, it's very easy to say, where you have a screen, you have in 3x4, you have the long screen, so you can do these patterns, but in horizontal games, there's a lot more limited space. Positioning is a lot harder to deal with. Obstacles exist, things like that exist. It's very difficult to really define how you want to use your screen space. So, again, this is a work in progress. I'm trying to work on this. The character health actually gets obliterated by the orb radiance, so I need to look at that and check that out. I think there's an issue with my code, because I think that the more health they have, the more damage they take by the radiance, which is kind of funny. That's on me. I don't think I designed it correctly, but I mean, at the same time, I mean, it's fun to make these little mistakes and try to figure out this stuff, because I think too many people are too focused on making something, like, just to put it out. Just make games. Just do that. And it's like, I think it's more important to not gloss over all of these issues that appear in design. I think it's very important in design to think about. I think the people who are like the people who say just make games, put them out, or whatever, they don't really like play games, because if they thought that way, if you think that way, like honestly, we don't live in the arcade era anymore. I mean, I could have put if I had Treasure at my disposal with Treasure. I'm not saying Treasure as a team. I'm saying Treasure's team size is about 11 people. That means someone's doing images or textures or modeling or whatever. Someone's doing coding. Someone's doing music. Someone's doing design or whatever. We could get this out super fast, but I'm one guy who has to do all of these things that in Treasure a 12-man team would do. In Sin and Punishment, I think was an 11-man team. I don't know for sure, but it's like it feels so unfair. It feels so silly to tell people. Every time someone says you can make an indie game, they show you like Breakout or something, and it's like, no. Well, I mean, if you want to set yourself up for being just a minimal person who doesn't think about design, just make a procedural. Just put in like upgrades and roguelite shit, you know. It's just like, well, like in the past, you have to respect that we're not all like fucking Manfred Trenz. You know, Manfred Trenz is like a once in a lifetime genius who could shit on an R-Type clone on his own. Like, not everybody's like that. You have to respect that kind of attitude, and I think money plays a lot into that. I mean, I don't care about the money stuff that much. I just want people to put out quality games, but I feel like it seems like too many people are too focused on putting stuff out without thinking critically, and I'm too caught up critically in trying to like make something I think I would want to play, and it makes it hard for me to make something because I always look back at everything I make and I'm like, that's shit, that's bad, that's bad, that's bad, that's bad. Everything I do, it can be fixed, and at some point you have to walk away. But when you have something that you know you're gonna unleash it in its final form, people will play it and it's definitive. You have to be willing to take the time to really like fix it, and in games, like, that's not possible. It's just not possible because people have like the money aspect to it. I come from music and music composition, and in music, we don't make any money anyway. The fee that we make is like nothing. It's jack. So the reason why you write music is because you want to do it. You want to write something. People will pay you to do it. At the end of the day, the net value, you always make a loss. You never make, I guarantee, unless you're like some high-up composer who gets commissions all the time, like Hans Zimmer or something, you are never making money ever. You are always taking a net negative loss. But the thing is, it doesn't matter. The money isn't the point. If you wanted to make money, you wouldn't have done this. And I think that's the same way. It's the way to think is that I don't think that this should be something that this field or whatever should exist for that sake, because all that does is cheapen it. All that does is it limits people from being able to take a day or two, or for me, several days, trying to look at something and trying to say, like, well, how do I want to create interesting patterns or interesting situations? It's not possible. Like, it just doesn't exist there. And I mean, I don't blame the system or whatever. I don't really care. I actually blame. You can blame the system all you want. I blame other people. People don't respect things that are well designed in general. Like, that's just how it's been. People would rather play a really dumbed down version of something rather than something that's mechanically deep, or even something that's jank. Even something that's jank has a lot of value. I mean, I'm a fighting game player, so I mean, I love, and I actually, well, even in shooting games, I love jank. That's why I love R-Type style games, because I think like a lot of R-Type style games are really bad. Like, A lot of people tried to make R-Type and they fucked it up. And I think it's really interesting because I think, like, today, a ZezX cannot be made. That game's not bad. It's a really good game. But I'm doing like a run of ZezX right now where I'm trying to do the no shot run where you only use the flint to kill everything based on like a Japanese replay I watched. And it's really hard. It's really difficult to do that, especially in stage 4. Stage 4, I've been like hard locked on the boss right now, trying to do just like a flint only run. And it's like it's so fun to like just be able to be like, oh, a game can be made within a year and still be that deep where you can play it in multiple ways. It's so fun. I mean, that's what that. So again, I mean, I don't think I'll make anything that good, but I mean, at some point, I'd like to think that maybe at some point, people can be doing like force only runs or whatever. That'd be fun, but I mean, force is too broken in this game. You could literally just sit on the boss with force and kill them. So I'd have to change a lot of the scoring and even damage to make it more fair. But either way, yeah. Maybe a build soon. I'm not sure. Honestly, I'm not sure about the next build. I fixed a lot of like my bugs, but I'm still not happy with the patterns in the new build. So I need to sit down and look at them, really reflect on what I want to do. So soon, maybe.